Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we are really excited to be taking a closer look at intermittent fasting, or IF, as it's better known.
IF.
Yeah, IF, exactly.
Yeah.
And we'll be drawing our insights from Jen Stevens' book, Fast, Feast, Repeat.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It is a good one.
Yeah.
It's got like a 4.8 star rating on Amazon,
Yeah.
so clearly a lot of people are finding some real value in it.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Yeah, for sure. And we're not just going to be talking about, weight loss, like how to shed a few pounds.
Right.
We
Yeah.
really want to go deeper, like explore how IF can be this powerful tool for improving your overall health.
Yeah, I love that approach because it really is about so much more than just the number on the scale.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so, right off the bat, Stevens kind of reframes how we think about dieting.
Yeah, she does.
She says it's not just about what you eat, but really when you eat.
Yeah, it's a really key distinction, and it makes so much sense when you start to delve into the research.
Okay, so when is the magic word here.
What?
Stevens calls IF a lifestyle shift, not just another, fad diet.
Absolutely. And that's actually one of the things I appreciate most about her approach. It's not about this quick fix.
Right.
It's about making sustainable changes that you can stick with for the long haul.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so let's talk about the science behind this when factor. What's going on in our bodies that makes this so important?
Well, it all comes down to something called chrononutrition, which basically means that our bodies respond differently to food depending on the time of day.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it turns out that our metabolism, our hormones, our entire system is kind of tuned to this natural ebb and flow throughout the day.
So like a circadian rhythm for eating.
Exactly. And when we eat in sync with our body's natural rhythms, we can actually optimize a whole range of functions, from digestion to energy levels to even hormone production.
Wow, that's fascinating. So are you saying that IF can help us kind of reset our internal clocks and get everything running more smoothly?
That's exactly it. And there's a growing body of research to support this. Emerging studies have linked IF to all sorts of amazing health benefits.
Like what?
Well, for starters, improved insulin sensitivity, which is huge for preventing things like type 2 diabetes.
Oh, wow, that's a big one.
Yeah, and it also seems to reduce inflammation throughout the body, which is linked to all sorts of chronic diseases.
So it's not just about weight loss. It's like a whole body tune-up.
It really is. And on top of all that, there's even evidence suggesting that IF can trigger something called autophagy.
Autophagy.
Yeah, have you heard of that?
I've heard the word, but I don't think I really know what it means.
Okay, well, it's basically like this cellular cleanup process where your cells start to recycle and repair themselves, getting rid of all the damaged components.
So like taking out the trash in your cells.
Exactly. And it's super important for maintaining overall health and potentially even slowing down the aging process.
Okay, now that is seriously cool. So IF could actually help our cells function more efficiently and maybe even make us age more gracefully.
That's the idea. There's a lot of excitement around the potential benefits of autophagy, and IF seems to be one of the most powerful ways to activate it.
All right, so we've got improved insulin sensitivity, reduced inflammation, and this cellular cleanup crew, all thanks to IF.
It's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to discover.
I can't wait to dive deeper. But before we get ahead of ourselves, Stevens is the big advocate for what she calls the clean fast. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Oh, yeah. The clean fast is crucial.
Hmm.
She emphasizes keeping your fasting periods truly clean, like just water, black coffee, or plain tea, nothing else.
No sneaky little snacks or anything?
Nope, not even those zero-calorie sweeteners or artificial flavors. You want to keep it super simple and pure.
I'll admit, the thought of giving up my sweetener in my morning coffee during a fast makes me a little nervous. But why is the clean fast so important?
Well, even those artificial sweeteners, even though they don't have calories, can still trigger an insulin response. And when your insulin levels go up, it can actually interfere with your body's ability to burn fat effectively.
So it's like hitting the brakes on the fat-burning process, even if you're technically not consuming any calories.
Exactly. So by keeping your fast clean, you're basically removing any obstacles and allowing your body to fully tap into its fat-burning potential.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So no more sneaking in a diet soda during my fasting window then.
Exactly. And you might be surprised how quickly your taste buds adjust. When you're not constantly bombarding them with sweet flavors, you start to appreciate the natural taste of things so much more.
I guess that's true. I never really thought about it that way. All right, so we're ditching the sweeteners, embracing the clean fast, and getting ready to unleash our fat-burning superpower.
I love that fat-burning superpower. It's a great way to think about it.
Speaking of which, Stevens talks about this thing called the metabolic switch that happens when you fast. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. So our bodies typically rely on glucose for energy, which is stored as glycogen. When you fast, your glycogen stores eventually get depleted. And that's when the magic
Mhm. The
happens.
magic.
Yeah, the metabolic switch. Your body realizes, hey, we're out of glucose. We need to find another source of fuel. And that's when it starts tapping into those fat reserves.
So IF essentially forces our bodies to become fat-burning machines.
That's a great way to put it. And this state of burning fat for fuel is known as ketosis.
Ketosis, I've heard that term thrown around a lot lately. It seems like everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic.
Yeah.
And for good reason. When your body's in ketosis, it can be incredibly efficient at burning fat for energy, which can have all sorts of positive effects on your health.
Okay, so IF helps us tap into those fat reserves more efficiently.
Yeah.
But it's not just about calories in, calories out, right? Stevens talks about hormones playing a key role as well.
Absolutely. Hormones are like the messengers that control all sorts of processes in the body, and ketosis seems to have this amazing ability to orchestrate a whole symphony of hormonal changes.
A hormonal symphony, I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So, for instance, insulin levels tend to decrease during fasting, which is a good thing because insulin is a storage hormone.
So lower insulin means less fat storage.
Exactly. And at the same time, human growth hormone, or HGH, increases, which is known to support muscle growth and repair.
So we're burning fat-building muscle, all thanks to IF.
It's a win-win. And there's also a boost in norepinephrine, which can rev up your metabolism and increase energy levels.
Wow, it sounds like IF is like a master conductor leading our hormones in this beautiful, fat-burning, muscle-building symphony.
I love that analogy. It really captures the essence of how IF works on a hormonal level.
Okay, so IF is not just about skipping meals. It's about optimizing our hormonal environment for better health. And this brings us to one of the things I find so refreshing about Stevens' approach. She emphasizes that it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. She's all about bio-individuality, right?
Absolutely. Bio-individuality is a cornerstone of her philosophy. It acknowledges that we're all unique and our bodies respond differently to the same inputs.
So what works for one person might not work for another.
That's right. Factors like our genetics, our gut microbiome, our lifestyle choices, all of these things can influence how we respond to fasting.
So it's not about blindly following some rigid plan. It's about discovering what works best for each individual.
Exactly. It's a personalized approach, and it aligns perfectly with the latest research in nutrition. We're moving away from those generic diets and embracing the fact that our needs and responses are as individual as our fingerprints.
I love that. It's about becoming the expert of your own body.
That's the key, and
Yeah.
that's what makes IF so empowering. You're in control. You're listening to your body and figuring out what works best for you.
One of the most intriguing concepts in the book is appetite correction. Can you explain what that means?
Sure, appetite correction is essentially about retraining your body to recognize true hunger signals.
So it's not just about willpower or white-knuckling your way through hunger pangs.
Not at all. It's about understanding your body's natural cues and responding to them in a healthy way.
And how does IF help with that?
Well, when you fast, you're essentially giving your digestive system a break, which allows those hunger hormones to kind of reset and recalibrate.
So you start to feel true hunger again, not just those cravings or emotional eating urges.
Exactly. And many people find that as they continue with IF, they naturally start to feel fuller faster and their cravings diminish.
So it's not about deprivation. It's about actually resetting your body's hunger signals.
That's a great way to put it. It's about creating a healthier, more intuitive relationship with food.
Okay, but let's be honest. Sometimes the allure of our favorite foods is hard to resist. What does Stephen say about that?
Well, that's where her delay, don't deny philosophy comes in. It's such a brilliant concept.
I love that phrase, delay, don't deny.
It's so empowering, right? It takes the guilt and restriction out of the equation. You can still enjoy those delicious meals and treats. You're just choosing when to enjoy them within your eating window.
So you're not labeling foods as good or bad, but rather making conscious choices about when to indulge.
Exactly. It's about breaking free from that all or nothing mentality that so many diets promote. You know, you don't have to feel like you're constantly depriving yourself.
Yeah, it takes a lot of the pressure off, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And you know what's amazing? Many people find that when they delay those treats, they actually enjoy them even more.
Oh, that makes sense. When you're not constantly indulging, it makes those special occasions even more special.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that balance between enjoyment and mindfulness.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Clean fasting, the metabolic switch, hormonal benefits, bio-individuality, appetite correction, and this delay, don't deny philosophy. It seems like finding the perfect rhythm with IF might take some tweaking and experimenting, right?
Absolutely. And that's what's so great about Tylum. It's not a rigid set of rules, it's a journey of discovery.
Yeah, it's about finding what works best for you and your body.
And Stevens encourages that mindset of experimentation.
Hmm.
She talks about tweaking till it's easy, which I think is a brilliant way to approach it.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about making gradual changes and finding what feels sustainable for you.
Exactly. And, it might take a little trial and error to find that sweet spot, but that's all part of the process.
So what kind of tweaks are we talking about?
Well, it could be adjusting your eating window, experimenting with different fasting durations, or maybe even incorporating occasional longer fasts. It's all about listening to your body's feedback and seeing what feels most comfortable and effective for you.
So it's a very personalized approach.
Very much so. And you know what? One of the most common tweaks that people make is adjusting their eating window.
Their eating window.
Yeah, so, IF isn't just about when you start eating, it's also about when you stop. And finding that optimal window where you feel your best, both physically and mentally, can make a huge difference.
So it's not just about the length of the fast, it's about syncing it up with your natural rhythms and your lifestyle.
Exactly. And what's interesting? Some people find that they feel best when they have a shorter eating window, like maybe 6 or 8 hours.
Oh, wow. So they're fasting for like 16 to 18 hours a day.
Yeah, and they thrive on that. They feel energized, focused, and they find it really easy to stick to.
While others might need a longer eating window to feel their best?
Exactly. It's all about finding what works for you.
Okay, so it's all about experimenting, finding your rhythm, and tweaking things as needed.
Tweaking till it's easy. That's the mantra.
I love that. It takes the pressure off. But one thing I've noticed as we've been talking is how much IF seems to be about this shift in perspective, not just a change in eating habits.
That's a great observation. And that's where we really get to the heart of Stephen's message in Fast, Feast, Repeat. It's not just about the mechanics of fasting. It's also about cultivating a healthier, more mindful relationship with food.
So in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore those mindset shifts that can make this journey not only successful, but also really empowering.
I'm excited to dive into that. It's one of my favorite aspects of IF. It's truly transformative.
I can't wait. We'll see you back here soon for part 2.
Sounds good. So we were just talking about tweaking and experimenting with IF to make it work for you.
Yeah, finding that sweet spot.
Exactly. And, one of the biggest questions that comes up is how exercise fits into all of this.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like, do you work out during your fasting window or after you've eaten?
Right. It's something that a lot of people are curious about.
I know I was a little hesitant at first about working out on an empty stomach.
Mm-hmm.
I was always taught that you need to fuel up before you exercise.
Yeah, that's the traditional advice. But Stevens actually makes a pretty compelling case for exercise and IF being a powerful combination.
Really?
Yeah, there's a growing body of research to suggest that exercising in a fasted state can actually enhance fat burning.
Oh, wow. So we're already tapping into those fat reserves during our fasting window, and then exercise kind of amplifies the effect.
Exactly. It's like a double whammy for fat loss.
I like that, double whammy.
Yeah.
What about energy levels? Like, wouldn't you feel totally drained working out without any fuel in the tank?
You might think so, but a lot of people actually report feeling more energized when they exercise in a fasted state.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive, but it makes sense when you think about how our bodies adapt. When we're fasting, our bodies become more efficient at using stored fat for fuel, and that includes during exercise.
So it's like we're training our bodies to become fat-burning machines.
Exactly. And this can have some pretty amazing benefits beyond just weight loss. There's research suggesting that fasted workouts can also lead to improvements in insulin sensitivity.
Ah, so it's good for blood sugar control, too.
Yes. And that's huge for preventing things like type 2 diabetes.
Wow. So we're talking about potential benefits for weight management and blood sugar control. But what about muscle building? Doesn't working out on an empty stomach risk muscle loss?
That's a common concern. But interestingly, Stevens suggests that fasted workouts might actually prime your body for better muscle growth after your workout.
Wait, really? How does that work?
Well, think about it. When you're fasting, your body is in this catabolic state where it's breaking down stored energy for fuel. And that includes some muscle tissue.
Yeah.
But then when you break your fast with a nutritious meal, your body shifts into an anabolic state where it starts to rebuild and repair.
So it's like you're creating this more receptive environment for those muscles to really soak up the nutrients and repair themselves efficiently.
Precisely. It's like setting the stage for optimal muscle growth.
Okay, that's pretty fascinating. But I have to admit, I'm still a little nervous about the whole working out on an empty stomach thing.
I get it. It's definitely something you want to approach gradually. And you know what? Stephen stresses the importance of listening to your body and not pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion, especially when you're first starting out.
Yeah, overdoing it is never a good idea whether you're fasting or not. It's all about finding that sweet spot between challenging yourself and respecting your body's limits.
And that sweet spot might look different for everyone. Some people thrive on intense workouts later in their eating window, closer to when they fueled up. Others feel fantastic exercising in a fasted state. It really depends on your individual preferences and how your body responds.
So again, bio-individuality plays a role here. It's about paying attention to how you feel and finding what works best for you.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. Experiment with different timings, adjust your intensity as needed, and make sure to stay hydrated throughout the day, especially if you're active.
All right, so we've talked about how exercise can enhance the benefits of IF. But as we've been discussing, I've been realizing that IF is about so much more than just the physical changes. It's also about this shift in perspective, this new way of thinking about food.
You're absolutely right, and that's where we really get to the heart of Stevens's message. It's not just about the mechanics of fasting, it's also about cultivating a healthier, more mindful relationship with food.
So in the final part of our deep dive, we're going to explore those mindset shifts that can make this journey not only successful, but also incredibly empowering.
I can't wait to delve into that. It's one of the most transformative aspects of IF.
Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back after a short break. All right, so we're back and ready to dive into the final part of our deep dive into intermittent fasting.
And this is where it gets really interesting. You know, we've talked about the science, the mechanics, the tweaking, but what really sets IF apart is the mindset shift that it can create.
Yeah, I think that's what really drew me to it in the first place.
Yeah.
I was so tired of feeling like food was the enemy, always counting calories, restricting myself, feeling guilty.
I hear that. It's like that constant battle with food. And IF really flips the script on that.
It does. Stephen's book, Fast, Feast, Repeat, really resonated with me because it emphasized ditching that all-or-nothing mentality.
Right, like you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about finding a sustainable way to enjoy food without all the guilt and deprivation.
That's a key part of the message. You know, IF is not about punishing yourself. It's about taking ownership of your choices and really becoming the expert of your own body.
Yeah, I love that. It's like you're in the driver's seat.
Exactly. You're not following some rigid set of rules dictated by a diet guru. You're making conscious decisions that align with your unique needs and goals.
And remember that delay, don't deny philosophy we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
It's so liberating. You don't have to give up your favorite foods. You're just choosing when to enjoy them.
Exactly. And it takes so much pressure off. You know, you don't have to feel like you're constantly depriving yourself.
And it makes those special occasions even more special.
Absolutely. It's about finding that balance, enjoying life, but also being mindful of your choices.
Stevens also talks about celebrating those non-scale victories, the NSVs. I love that concept.
Oh, the NSVs are so important. You know, it's not always about the number on the scale.
Right. Sometimes the most profound changes are happening beneath the surface.
Exactly. Those boosts in energy, improved sleep, sharper mental focus, those are all signs that NS is working its magic.
Even if the scale isn't moving as quickly as you'd like.
Right. It's about appreciating those subtle shifts in how you feel, how your clothes fit, how much energy you have.
Those victories can be incredibly powerful motivators.
They were
Okay, but let's be honest. There will be times when it's tough to stick with IF. Holidays, social gatherings, even just everyday stress can make it challenging.
Oh, absolutely. Life happens. And, Stevens doesn't sugarcoat that. She acknowledges that there will be bumps in the road.
So it's not about being perfect all the time.
Not at all. It's about progress, not perfection. It's about learning from those challenging situations and finding ways to adapt IF to your life.
Not the other way around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, one of her most valuable suggestions is to find your tribe. Connect with other people who are on this IF journey. Share your experiences, your struggles, your triumphs. That sense of community can be incredibly supportive and motivating.
Yeah. It's amazing how much power there is in knowing you're not alone in this.
Absolutely. And, there are so many amazing online communities and resources available now. It's easier than ever to connect with others who get it.
So as we wrap up our deep dives into fast, feast, repeat, what's the biggest takeaway you'd like listeners to remember?
That's a great question. I think for me, it's that IF is more than just a weight loss tool. It's really a powerful lifestyle approach that can transform your relationship with food and your overall well-being.
Yeah, it's about so much more than just the number on the scale.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you, listening to your body, and embracing the journey.
And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about making gradual, sustainable changes that feel good for you.
That's the key. And you know what? It's a journey that's well worth taking. The benefits of IF extend far beyond just weight loss. It's about feeling your best, living your best life.
I couldn't agree more. Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into intermittent fasting. It's been an incredible journey exploring the science, the practical tips, and the transformative power of this approach. And a huge thank you to our expert for sharing your insights and wisdom with us today.
It's been my pleasure. And to all our listeners out there, I encourage you to check out Jen Stevens' book, Fast, Feast, Repeat. It's packed with even more information and inspiration to help you embark on your own IF adventure. And remember, you've got this.
That's right. We believe in you. And we'll be here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, be well and keep exploring the fascinating world of knowledge. Goodbye, everyone.